now at 7:42 with the images from 2014 that will live on long after the ball drops in Times Square tomorrow night.
Time magazine is out with its Year in Photos. Editor-at-large Belinda Luscombe is here to share them with us. Belinda, it's great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's hard to boil down an entire year to 9 photographs, but we're going to do that right here. And one of the stories, obviously, that dominated American culture this year was the death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and the protests that follow.
And I think this photo that we chose shows how a lot of people feel about race in America, that you have a sort of an unarmed dude with a surfer T-shirt on and dreads, and then 3 heavily armed gentlemen in law enforcement approaching him with their guns drawn, looking like they're pouncing on him, and it seems like it's very unequal treatment. And this photo got a lot of attention for that reason. This is right after Ferguson. The guy who shot this photo actually took a rubber bullet, so he had to get back up and shoot it. But it's a very uncomfortable photo to look at.
In so many cases, the picture really captures a news story we covered every single day. That is the case with the Ebola crisis, and you've selected a picture from Texas where Thomas Eric Duncan had come down as the first U.S. Ebola patient. Tell us about this picture.
So this is Thomas Eric Duncan's apartment. That's his upstairs neighbours who are probably regretting their choice of home at this moment. And they're cleaning it out, and they brought in 15 guys in hazmat suits. As you remember, Duncan was the only guy who he infected 2 other nurses, and so he was the only guy where there was an actual case of Ebola that was transmitted on American soil. So they took out like 40 barrels of, they tore out the blinds, they tore out everything, tens of thousands of dollars. So you can imagine if Americans have to do that, how in Africa that is an impossibility. They just don't have the resources to do that every time. We saw
the impact of Great War photography this year as well. This one from Syria that actually helped bring aid into the country.
Right. This is actually, these are Palestinian refugees in Syria. A lot of people forget that this conflict is still going. And because of this photo, which was shared and liked and retweeted over social media around the world about almost 40 million times, aid was able to get through to that town.
But let's go on to some other pictures. And this is on the lighter side. President Obama reading Where the Wild Things Are to school kids, and I guess really getting into character here.
Right. I think we're on the page where the wild things wore their terrible roars
the rumpus.
And gnashed their terrible teeth. And he's really getting into some teeth gnashing there. I'm not exactly sure. This is during the Easter egg roll. I'm not exactly sure the Easter message here. Forgiveness, maybe.
But it's a kind of a tradition during the Easter egg roll at this point. He loves to read that book.
For our next photograph, we go back to the Oscars and, of course, Ellen's photograph. The selfie heard round the world.
You know, my favorite part of this selfie is actually Kevin Spacey, because if you look like he's like his character in House of Cards, where he's just far enough back that you can see his whole frame. He's sort of center photo, but he's not crowding anybody out.
Yeah,
not crowding anybody out. And a lot of famous women in this photo. The guys, just the 2 Bradleys and Channing, but that's a really powerful women group.
And thank you for picking a photo for Willie Derek Jeter, who obviously was said goodbye to this year. Beautiful picture.
You'd think after 3,400 hits or so, you wouldn't get that excited about it, but this is his game-winning home run against the Baltimore Orioles. I think it might have been a softball. I'm just guessing.
Oh, stop it, please. It was a great moment. Okay, let's move on to Mother Nature. We'll start with the El Portal fires.
So, as you know, big drought in California, which means, for the last couple of years, which means that when a fire hits Yosemite, it really hits. So, a beautiful nature photography is at the one time wonderful and awful, a little bit scary and a little bit beautiful. And as you can see, this is kind of gorgeous with its oranges, but also very damaging, terrifying fire.
Let's try to get one more in here. What a shot from the World Trade Center. Lightning striking.
Lightning striking twice. This is almost exactly a year after that spire on the World Trade Center went up. It's the tallest building now in the Western Hemisphere, so it attracts all the lightning. We might see more of this.
Well, it's a great issue. A lot of photos to look at. Belinda Luscombe from Time, thank you so much.
Thanks, Belinda.
Appreciate it.